And we are live. What is up, everyone? Welcome on in. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone's doing well. So, yeah, we're doing more Ace Attorney. All right, probably stream schedule update. There is a chance that I might not be able to stream on Saturday. I know earlier this week I said that if I won't be able to stream this Saturday, I'd be doing Mario Maker tonight. However, yeah, I was just exhausted today, so let's just do Ace Attorney. So yeah, if I do stream on Saturday, then yes, it will be Maker. If not, then there wouldn't be a stream on Sunday because I really want Sundays to be my complete days off. Then my regular stream schedule will be for the rest of the week. It's the usual Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday streams. I also do want to take for this year. I also do want to take Wednesdays off, but there may be some times where I will be streaming on Wednesdays, and on Fridays. Probably the only reason why I stream on Friday is because of a Tetris 99 Maximus Cup event. Otherwise, yeah. All right. Now that schedule is out of the way, yep, let's continue Ace Attorney. So we have completed 2 cases or 2 adventures, according to the titles of the cases here. So we are going to start, episode 3, The Adventure of the Runaway Room. So, all right. I guess let's do this. And based from the silhouette there, I see we have more shrooms. So, yes! Alright, let's do this. The Adventure of the Runaway Room.
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner. My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, once said of the incident,
Herlock Sholmes.
that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude. The beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together.
Oh no.
Amazing. Is this really just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
And look at all the steam locomotives.
Why do they suddenly have British accents?
This country is incredible.
I feel like I'm dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
Climb aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure. I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay. And welcome to the centre of the world, Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
Why? Is that the Eiffel Tower? I don't know. Wow, no murder happened in that cutscene. I'm surprised. Alright, 18th Feb, 9:21 a.m. British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. What an incredible place. It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. This place is breathtaking. It looks like a fortress. There are some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course, but they've only been built in the few short decades since we've opened our borders to the outside world. An authentic example like this has quite a different impact, don't you agree? A far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed from. It's certainly unfamiliar. Why is their Chief Justice's chamber located in a clock tower? What is this place again? This is the Lord Chief Justice's offices, Naruhodo-san, in the Supreme Court of Great Britain. Lord Chief Justice. We had instructions to report here at this time. If circumstances were different, we were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan. But Kazuma can't. No. So instead we are here in a different capacity, as envoys, to report the news of Kazuma-sam's death. And having delivered his or her message, an envoy's duty is done. So we'd have to return to Japan. If we want to remain here in Great Britain, I have to take Kazuma's place as the law student selected for the study tour. Yes, which means you need the requisite qualifications as a lawyer, which is what I've been studying for. Here in Great Britain, it is the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. So that's the second reason why we're here, to have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way that we'll be able to remain here in London. I hope I'm up to scratch. Good morning. Sorry for keeping you. Herlock Sholmes. Okay, wow. This looks like Damon Gant. Holy crap. I trust you aren't too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan. It seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. Oh, no. Don't mention it. We're never happier than when we're standing around with nothing much to do. How fortunate. Strongheart. Alright. I am Mael Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire. Ugh, and I feel like a little mouse under an elephant's foot. Come on, Mr. Naruhodo, don't be a mouse. It's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Yes, thank you. Okay, what's in our court record? Armband. Armband I inherited from Kazuma. It identifies the wearers as a defense lawyer throughout the Empire of Japan. So you only have Susato and Mael Strongheart. Lord Chief Justice who wields absolute authority in judicial matters, including the appointment of lawyers. He's a thoroughly intimidating man. He really reminds me of Damon Gant. Holy crap. Okay. This must be the Lord Chief Justice's desk. I believe it's made of marble. It looks like an over-the-top tombstone that's toppled over to me. I think that's your fanciful imagination at work again, Naruhodo. Feels like everything that's normally made of wood and paper at home is made of bricks and stone here. I know, that's why this place feels so overbearing, I'm sure. Look at these menacing metal giants facing each other across the room. I believe they're suits of armor. Oh right, I thought maybe they were like the lion dogs we have in Japan guarding shrine gates. Not at all. In fact, in Europe, suits of armor like these are always possessed by evil spirits. And they roam around in the middle of the night. Is there nothing you don't know, Miss Susato? Wow, that's false. This book tells me everything I need to know about everything. If you're ever unsure, just ask. Where did she get that incredible tome? These candelabras. Just look at all the naughty books packed together on these shelves. They go from floor to ceiling. And they're all books that you couldn't hope to come by in Japan. It's like a dream. Yes, a very bad dream. They're not all about British law either. There are books about the judicial systems of other Western nations. France, Germany, Spain, Holland. Holland? Russia? Why do you ask? I was wondering about asking the Lord Chief Justice how you say wardrobe in Japan. What do you think? I think perhaps it's a thought best abandoned. Wow. Yeah, why is his office in a clock tower? Is this some kind of clock? Actually, I think we might be inside some sort of giant clock, but those gears are larger than anything you'd find on a steam locomotive even. It's eerie, don't you think clocks are some sort of hobby of his, Lord Chief Justice, I mean? Well, boys do enjoy fiddling around with machines, don't they? I'm not sure you could fiddle with cogs that size, and I'm certain you couldn't call him a boy. Still, it's amazing how little noise the cogs make considering how large they are. There's actually something quite soothing about their precise rhythm. Okay, you know what? Sooner or later, I feel like Shomes will appear here. So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Help! I've been so nervous ever since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city. It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? We had a wonderful view of some London streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say I'm almost lost for words. I'm glad to hear you like it. City boasts tramways, piped water and gas, even cables supplying electricity. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astounded. Oh yes, astounded is the word. Thanks for saving me there, Sasato-san. And everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. Yes, there's much excitement about the upcoming great exhibition we will be hosting here in London. Great exhibition. World's Fair? Cultural and technological advancements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It will be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history, and will make Paris's World Fair look like a toy shop. Okay, there we go. Gosh, I can't hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. Great Britain's capital city is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world. Even if you do say so yourself. I like how it zooms out when he does that. The sun will never set on our great empire. Hey! Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times, we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun. Lord Chief Justice, I think you were expecting a student of law for this study tour, weren't you? Absolutely. A Mr. Kazuma Asogi, if my memory serves. That's right. The British government has already been telegraphed a full report on the situation. I understand the young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores. That's amazing. The news reached him before we even arrived. My country naturally extends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. And you honor this appointment specifically to inform me of the news? Yes. We are here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese are a people of protocol and courtesy, and I see that it's true. And it is with some regret that I must inform you that the death of the young lawyer means the study tour arrangement can no longer proceed. If you would just hear us out, Lord Strongheart. What do you have to say, madam? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo here would like to make a proposal. Would he now? Well, Mr. Naruhodo. This is it then, the moment of truth. The thing is, Lord Justice, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you would consider allowing the study tour to go ahead. Don't misunderstand me, Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead. But without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else, another lawyer from Japan, I mean? Is there something I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country, and that was Mr. Asogi. At least that is what I've been led to understand. Well, the thing is, this really isn't going well at all. I just can't seem to find the right words to say this man. Mr. Naruhodo. I could ruin things here if I'm not careful. Yep, if I'm not careful, like, this controller will always keep disconnecting. If there is someone else here from Japan who could be described as a lawyer, it's me! I can do it. Is that so? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications as such, but no qualifications, you say. And yet you still claim to be a lawyer. I have acted as a lawyer in court before, only once as it happens. And I had Kazuma to help me, and I was the accused. But glossing over the details, I've been spending every spare moment on the journey here to Great Britain studying. I've learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Buria. The voyage from Japan is some 50 days, I believe, not what you might call a full education. To become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. I realize it's far too short a period of time, but I can't just go back to Japan. Kazuma, Mr. Asogi's journey has only just begun. Coming here on this study tour was all he thought about. I have to carry on and do everything he planned to do. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I would do anything to prove that I have what it takes. Any test you care to set to me. Just one chance, that's all I'm asking for. Please. 31 seconds. Sorry? Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruhodo, it was 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly judged appeal, I would say. Which is a skill that would stand you in a good stead as a lawyer. Oh, thanks. So, you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. But let me ask you one thing first, sir. You say you intend to do everything Mr. Asogi planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? Yes, that's my intention. I see. Naruhodo. Am I imagining things, or did this expression just alter a fraction there all of a sudden? Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. Really? What is this test? So what form will the test take exactly? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo. What do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Well said. So, let's have you defend someone. Huh? Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an app trial about to begin later today. No advocate has been appointed for the defense as yet, so this will be welcome news. Surprise! Surprise case today? Straight away? If you manage to secure a verdict of not guilty, you'll have passed my test. What could be simpler? How do I get myself into these situations? Well, could I ask, what sort of trial is it, Lord Strongheart? Yes, good question. I remember. It's a murder trial. A murder! An extremely simple case, I understand. You really can't lose. That's easy to say. But I should mention just in case, if the defendant is found guilty, he will of course be sentenced to capital punishment. He'll be put to death. Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows without exception. Presumably, you read that much in your short C-based introduction to British law. We can't possibly agree to such a test. We would be toying with a man's life. I'm the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided that it's acceptable. But you can't do that, can you? There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose. So the defendant may live or die depending on how well I perform in court. If I lose, he'll be hanged. Mr. Naruhodo, you've come to me claiming to be a lawyer. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I'd like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. He's testing my resolve. Hey! What's the matter? You fall in silent. I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. What is it to be? What do I say? Do I agree to this absurd test? Oh, I wonder what'll happen if I say I won't do it. Alright then, if I have to give you a decision now, my answer is... I can't get the words out. 15 seconds. Your decision making needs work if you want to be a lawyer. That was too slow. It's always gonna be a yes. I feel it's scripted to say yes. So it's a suspected... I suspected is it. Sorry. You have noble intentions but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is cancelled. Thank you for stopping by. Go and acquire your ticket for passage back to the east tomorrow. This conversation is over. Yes, Lord Strongheart. Thank you for offering me a chance. Mr. Naruhodo, I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but what could I do? It's alright, I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances. But resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. What are you trying to say, madam? I think what Ms. Susato means is that no matter how badly I like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance at the trial is so trivially would be utterly unforgivable, and I feel exactly the same way. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day, but for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief Justice. Wait, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, was there something else? It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time. But I just said that. I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him. What? At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without the defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. He'll receive the most severe sentence the judge can pass down. But that's awful. But that is the truth. Why does that have to be like this? Please don't expect an answer to every question. The cold hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that is you. I'm really his only hope. So, what do you say now, madam? Me? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances. And I agree, but in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve. Our time is up here. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. He's gone. The Old Bailey. Yo, Tilted, what's up? Welcome on in. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. You're back to your mom's birthday. Happy birthday to your mom, Aniv. If we're going to do this, we must leave at once. Miss Susato. Okay, she's like gonna do a takedown now. Can I just ask you something? Careful, from this position I can perform a Susato takedown in an instant. I know. You heard Lord Strongheart. The trial starts imminently. If I need to throw you, I will. You know, you could just say I think we should hurry to the courtroom. If you need to ask me anything, it had better wait until we're at the Old Bailey. Okay, fine. That's it. I have nothing in my court record. Alright. If we hurry and catch a cab, wow. We may just make it to the courthouse in time. (9:45 a.m.) The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. It's antechamber, not defendant's lobby. Oh, thank goodness we're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. It's one of my favorite lines from the Herlock Sholmes stories. Oh god, Herlock Sholmes. And it worked quite perfectly. I'm not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were going to die and we had to pay gold for the privilege. Well, at least you arrived here before the trial started. Yes, I suppose there's that. Okay. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here, but there's no sign of him at all. So this is the Old Bailey. Even this room for defendants to wait in is grand. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever's about to be sentenced. Feels like only yesterday that I was the one about to be crushed. Yes, whoever the man you're to defend is, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Top of the morning to you, madam. Sir? Oh, you. Oh my god, is this Willy Wonka? What are you doing following me here? Things are very desperate, are they? Sorry. Would you look at those expressionless faces from the east, are yous? We're from Japan, yes. Ah, Japan is it, right? Say no more. So, how much use need? No, we're just here because... No need to explain, fella. I've been there myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name, and all while in a strange faraway land? Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no? 'Tis grand, 'tis grand. Let me start by giving you 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now. Ha! 1,000 guineas? Please, Miss Susato, you don't have to shout. But 1,000 guineas is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? This is not into me at all. I like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see? I have enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. Could that much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. Ah, that hit me in the eye. Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving it the no strings attached. I'll be wanting you to do something for me. Oh? To be honest, this is a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, is for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'd be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh well, the thing is, don't worry about a thing. All you have to do is stand up there next to me, nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial is going to start without me having any kind of representation at all. So it was true. The Lord Chief Justice wasn't just making it all up. I'm terribly sorry to have to ask, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Yo, Coburn, what's up? Yo, Coburn, welcome on in. Thank you for being a fan. Appreciate it. Hope everything's well. How are you doing? Bluster and Blazes, do you not know who I am? Me, one of London's biggest names? Willy Wonka. You're Willy Wonka. We've only just arrived in the city, you see. I see. I suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Well, just next to Hyde Park, there in the center of London, is another beautiful park. Sorry, a park? Apart from getting to unexpected jobs today, you're doing alright. Nah, that's good to hear. Anyway, yeah, we're doing more Ace Attorney. I did mention earlier I was supposed to do Meeker today, but I'm too exhausted. I just want to, like, do Ace Attorney. This is called McGilded Park, full of blossom and flowers in the spring and singing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did. An entire park in central London? A city of smiles, that's my vision for London. There's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its queer old people. Alright, so you're not Willy Wonka. Nobody wants to yeah, thanks Tilted. Yeah, I'll do my usual Mario Maker on the weekends, but yeah, like what I said earlier this week, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to stream on Saturday. So yeah. That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary. But now they've the gall to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What's in the matter? Okay, I can't do a British accent, I'm sorry. What is the matter with the London police, I ask ya? Alright, don't pass out. Mr. Naruhodo. Perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves while the gentleman catches his breath. Good idea. Okay, he's still like... Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I after saying, you daft Egypt? You daft Egypt? I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Well, yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you. Oh, now he has a, like, change of attitude. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. I know what you're thinking. Okay, is he now on the court record? He is. The defendant in this case, he's an incredibly wealthy philanthropist with a wonderful reputation in London. I'm to defend him as a test of my worthiness to become a lawyer. Alright. This Chancellor of a fellow claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Because he did it. That's the only explanation. Well, Not at all, although it is a little strange to be honest. Why you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. The Reaper? Aye, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Barak van Zykes. Baron van Zykes, Baron van Zeeks. I think he's Zeeks. He's the prosecutor. The prosecutor is the Grim Reaper. When Van Zeek stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. So basically, Von Karma. What? So it's reached a desperate situation where there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fella at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness, Lord Baron van Zeeks. He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madam. It's cursed. Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned, and his counsel. Please make your way into the courtroom. The trial is about to begin. His counsel, that would be me. I still don't know anything about the case, like who's the victim, etc., etc. Oh, this time. Well then, fella, don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. Until you showed your face here, I'd made up my mind, so I had. Sorry. I decided I'd have to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? But then you made an appearance. A student of law, what did you know? There's no accident, I can assure you of that. Tis fate. So don't get cold feet now, please. Yeah, I still don't know what about the case, so I literally know nothing about the case or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. Mr. Naruhodo, the man has no more. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom armed with nothing to defend himself. Yeah, something that Kazuma would have never allowed to happen. Counsel for the defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of a trial, you will lose your right to stand. I'll be right there. It's happening then, my first trial in a British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma, because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. Oh, fancy. Oh, with live fire. 10 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Oh, there are people in the bench. Holy crap. So this is the highest court in Great Britain, the Old Bailey. The centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different than the Supreme Court in Japan. Graphics upgrade, yep. I think originally this game was for the 3DS. That's why the graphics are like these. In the original Ace Attorney games, they're originally only for the DS. That's why it's like limited to like the... Well, actually, the original was for the Game Boy Advance. Then it was ported to the DS. So, yeah. Feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. What are you playing? I'm on the Switch. Yep, this is the Switch version. But I think across platforms, whether it's Switch, PC, or PS or Xbox, it's all the same. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh yes, what? Oh, he has the sword. And he's beady-eyed again. Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. Oh, the meta. I know, but I just can't help it. Oh. Oh, not bald judge. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. It's Queen Vicky. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilded. I now call upon Santa Judge. I know, I should have played this on Christmas. Well, I did play it on Christmas, but we didn't get to episode 3 yet. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Is he a vampire? Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? That's racist. Oh, yes, of course, sorry. But he asked if the defense was ready, and I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. Oh, he also has a sword. Those eyes please me, Nipponese. They shroud your fear, your doubts, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. Ugh. Cold shiver just ran down my spine all the way to the tips of my toes. Okay, is Judge now showing up? Judge isn't in the court record. Supposedly, the souls of those he prosecutes are eternally damned one way or another. Now, Mr. McGilded. Yes, my lord. You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You could be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? That's racist. As I've always said, my lord, it's a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fella is a student from some little island off in the Far East, it's not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance. I like to think that acts of chivalry do the great British Empire proud. Listen to McGilded. What a foul gentleman London has in him. Did you hear that he donated £5,000 to the government the other day? Mother, please, may we go play in McGilded Park? Seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. That's definitely welcome news. And he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, and most laudable sentiments. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Oh, that's the jury. I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? I feel it's the Grandma's fault. Yes, my lord. If the task is to send rotters to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready. At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Ha! Any criminals here will be soon wishing they never set eyes on me. Is that the stenographer? Oh, that's the stenographer. Alright. No, wait. I feel a chill. No, that's juror number 4. I feel a chill. Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. These peoples are the jury, yes. That's something we don't have in Japan yet. That's right. I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. But how exactly do the jurors give their verdict? That I don't know, but we'll see. I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses, obviously. Prosecutor Van Zeeks. Is it Zeeks or Zykes? I don't know. It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you'd renounced your fame. I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. It's Zeeks. It's Zeeks. Alright, thank you. Thank you, Tilted. So it brings you back. Is there some change of circumstance of which the court should be aware? I think he's a vampire. He's like so pasty pale white. Anyway. Yeah, I know. He's so pale. I'll leave that to your imagination, my lord. So the Reaper has been out of action for 5 years. Why did he have to choose today of all days to make a comeback? Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo. As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. We must be the only ones in here who aren't aware. The incident took place in the late evening 3 days past. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known in the community as Thrice Fired Mason. Thrice. He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible. Wow, a color photograph! The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Here's the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard. Autopsy report! Not the post-mortem report! Thank you, counsel. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence. Autopsy report. I don't think that's what omnibus means, Ace Attorney. A report prepared by Scotland Yard coroner. It gives the cause of death as internal hemorrhaging as a result of a single stab of the wound to the abdomen. A photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. A photograph of the victim taken on the omnibus. It's omnibus. Okay, I'm not mispronouncing it. Omnibus, alright. The knife in his abdomen is clearly visible, but his face is partially obscured from view by an old crooked hat. And one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well. And these are, good lord, is that blood, counsel? Yes, my lord, seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. McGilded's gloves had blood on them? Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well. The defendant's leather gloves have been entered into the court record. How did I get into this? Alright, let's check these out for a while. Alright, autopsy report. Name Thrice Fired Mason, male, age 54, occupation brickmaker. Time and cause of death, 15 February, 10 to 11 p.m. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife whilst journeying in an omnibus. Died due to internal hemorrhaging resulting from the trauma. Crime scene photograph. It's colored. Wow! But it's grainy. Alright. Oh, I see something. I see a missing button. That's gonna be evidence. Something. Yeah, I have a feeling this button will take part in the case later. Gloves. Alright. This is definitely blood, isn't it? Not the most pleasant sight to be confronted with on our first day in London. Well, nothing will come of grumbling now. Blah, 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 blah. By the way, this is Mr. McGilded right-handed? Yes, I believe so. He was toying with the coin in his right hand a little earlier. Ha. Pity, if only he'd been left-handed. I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. But I do feel like it's... Okay, blood is the only thing I can investigate here as of now. Alright, we'll get back to that later. And the profile of the victim is Mason. Alright. I'm back into a corner before I've even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2? Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded. Well, rather damning circumstances to say the least. Defendant, what say you? Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. Mr. McGilded. To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening, but whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness and I always succumb to it. Are you claiming to have been asleep? Tis the motion of the carriage, my lord, tilted so it is, and when I opened my eyes again, it was a desperate sight before me, the body of a man I never laid eyes on before in my life. Now I ask you, what a good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about my gloves now, was I? I reached to give the man a hand. So the blood got onto the gloves then after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, that statement of the drivers is only the beginning. So the driver is a witness. Alright, if he had blood in his gloves, yeah, we do need to see the murder weapon. There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. Order! 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 When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage, and there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses first of all. Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. Alright, so this is the new mechanic in this game, is that there are multiple witnesses. So we've done that in the first case. So it's gonna like drive up now that there are multiple witnesses, and like we have to like observe like the reactions of each of the witnesses in the statements of the others. Then like try to get things out of that. Alright. Mr. Shivers, guy with the beard, then young guy. Alright. Okay. Before we start, alright, ads will start in around 3 minutes and I do need to go to the toilet. So I will take a very quick break. Once that's finished, we proceed with the rest of the case. So I will BRB. Oh, you have the boom boom. Wait, where's boom boom? There. Nice. Oh. That. Oh, that was so good. Holy crap. When you were expecting like a Shelmet, you suddenly get a boot in the face. Oh. No. I still had that. What? That is so good. Holy shoot. One shot XOR. Ah. Oh my god. CP1. This is the axe. Wait, did I start on underground or did I start in castle? Nice. Nice. GG's. Oh no, this is the other anti. And we back. And I have some Maltesers with me. I noticed that these Maltesers are starting to bloom, so just a side story. And I checked the Best Buy date for this one. And apparently the Best Buy date was December 30th, 2023. So I've been eating these for like over 2 weeks now, and I think I should be dead by now because I've eaten some chocolates past its Best Buy date. Anyway. But they're still good. I don't know. They're not stale in any way, sort, or form. But yeah, I think I should be dead now. Anyway. Has it been refrigerated? No. Surprisingly, I didn't refrigerate it, even though most of the chocolates I buy, I refrigerated, considering, yeah, I'm in a tropical country. If you don't refrigerate it, it's gonna melt and be soupy mess, but yeah. Anyway, alright. Yeah, I know chocolate does bloom when you refrigerate it, but yeah. Anyway. YOLO. Yeah, YOLO. I mean, I think there's only one more serving like in this ramekin left. So I might as well just... Aside from this, there's probably one more serving like this in the bucket, so... Yep. Alright, let's continue. Witnesses, your names and occupations. Beppo. My name as well. Everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Alright, Tilted, I did notice you did post earlier. You looked it up and that's how they used the word omnibus in the 1800s, so I guess you got to concede. So yeah. I guess omnibus means a carriage or something. Fairplay. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city. Very dapper. My name's First Lady First. I make hats for gents. And before this is actually a girl. Let's begin by confirming the facts. Horse-drawn large carriage. Alright, fair enough. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witnessed the aforementioned incident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Quite right. Yes, sir. That's right, sir. Very well then. Let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. Witness testimony. Oh, in script. Nice. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had few customers. I remember it well. They did also use it for a long motor vehicle, so I don't know what this kind is, I guess. We'll probably see. So maybe it's a carriage with multiple like seats or something. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did, I couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus and I saw it too. So you saw the stabbing. An ambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question if I may. Yes, counsel. Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As had been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. They were inside. How quaint. I'd read that civilization in Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you even traveled in an omnibus? Okay, we're probably gonna learn what an omnibus looks like here, Tilted. We only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves the actual scene of the crime, that is. Crime scene photograph! The carriage is designed to be moved after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yes. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today in this very building. Here? What? The entire carriage? Bailiff! Bring forth the stricken omnibus. Oh my god, wow. It can fit in the courtroom. Oh, is that in the top deck? So that's an omnibus, the omnibus. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. How can that fit in the door? As you can see, the omnibus look like a horse-drawn carriage at least. Yeah, it does look like it. At least it fits its time. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. 4 passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin and another 4 on the rooftop deck. Okay, wait. All right. All right. Let's let this go through because I have some thoughts in my head. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guests. Oh, there is a skylight in the roof allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. Alright. That's my question. Sorry. Let me chew first. It could be possible that the witnesses are seated on the top deck. So if the murder occurred in the inside because the crime scene photograph is inside, how would they have seen it? Alright. Let's go on. A skylight. Oh! The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on the omnibus when the murder occurred. When the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. That makes perfect sense. Well, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wits. Very well, I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. The omnibus has been entered into the court record. Oh god. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence. Wow, really? I can't like... That's the only thing I can inspect. Can I open it? The fuck? Oh. Shut up. That's a poster for the Great Exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition. Yo, objection, what's up? Welcome on in. Sexy Filipino accent. Thank you. Welcome on in, hope you're doing well. People all over London must be fizzing with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. Okay, there's blood here. The question is this where the victim was seated? That's blood that soaked into the seat, the victim's obviously. Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck. Would you really stab someone in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark and there was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Alright, I guess this isn't the Apollo Justice Trilogy waiting room. Halfway, yes. I'm waiting for the trilogy to drop later this month. I have played 4 and 5, so I'm just gonna play 6 once it comes out. But yeah, I'm hoping to finish the first game in this game, if you get what I mean, because this was like Ace Attorney, Great Ace Attorney 1 and 2. So I'm hoping to finish Great Ace Attorney 1, then play Ace Attorney 6. Then once 6 is done, we go back to Great Ace Attorney 2. Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Duology, yeah, that's the word. Alright. Okay, bus is there. Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I can help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Let's continue with the proceedings then. Your cross-examination, counsel. Pray don't expect the Nipponese straight to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. Alright, my first cross-examination in British court. Focus, Ryunosuke, focus. That self-slap. That's the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. Press is live. Alright. Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Yes, sir. That's what's right, sir. Alright. Okay. So, the second U in Ryunosuke is silent. Alright, thanks. Thank you for that. So it's Ryunosuke. 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 Okay, anyway. Alright, so what we've learned from the first case is that we need to like observe all witnesses in the stand because they might react to like statements made by the other. Alright. And you had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct? Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course, though.
Excuse me!
No, oh, damn it! Shoot! Ah, damn it. No, alright. Not really. Okay, this is a penalty, right? You always seem to be looking to the side one way or another. Do you have some affliction? Not really. He's not really willing to say anything, it seems. It's none of your business anyhow. The evergreener if the music doesn't stop. Yeah, I know. Alright, because I'm always used to like pressing A, but with that new mechanic that you're observing left and right, I thought like to get to the next statement you have to press A, but you suddenly like, oops. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Alright. And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage. That's right. When you set up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. There was a lamp on inside, so I had a pretty good view. The two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded. Okay, wait. Alright. How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? Mr. McGilded is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and McGilded. There's no room for doubt here. I really wish there was. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts.
Hold it!
We actually saw the exact moment it happened. Didn't I already testify to that? Or are fair dinkum, hardworking city bankers not considered trustworthy these days? Oh, no, I didn't mean that. This is no good, I've really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail if that's... Milord! Oh no, it's the juror. Yes, juror number 3, what's the meaning of this? My mind is made up, milord, completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich, never have. They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be, every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. What? There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. That is precisely what I was about to say. Oh my god, we have 2 jurors saying guilty already. As the foreman of this jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. Are you serious? What is happening here? Let me see. Yes, it seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. And the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case. As the case progresses, one by one, they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice as we saw a moment ago. So if these enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Alright. So what can happen is there's already 2 out of 6 votes to the guilty side. So there are 4 votes remaining. Worst case is that this is 3-3. No, worst case is obviously a guilty verdict. But the worst case and the best case scenarios is that it ties 3-3. I don't know if... We'll see. Now I'm even more worried than I was before. Very well, the court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. Huh, this is a nightmare. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I couldn't help it. He stabbed him, you say, and you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I'd been thinking about a new hat design, you see? So I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly, that huge great knife. A grim sight indeed. Ah, that didn't help me at all. I honestly thought that like juror number 4 was the stenographer. That appears to have made everyone even more dubious that McGilded is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Mr. First. Oh yes. Is this the knife you saw? Oh, good grief. Yes, that's it. The very one, sir. Is that... Yes, this is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. That is a blade of considerable size, Counsel. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. M for Magnus, perhaps, or McGilded, possibly? Take your pick. It could be a W. It seems that this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake. Objection. But there are M's everywhere. Yes, like in Mason.
Objection!
This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, Counsel. The murder weapon has been entered into the court record. Oh no, don't tell me she's gonna give her verdict. My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption. Yes, juror number 2, go on. Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman, and a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to do? Dispose of the rubbish. No. I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. Hold it. I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in position to draw the only logical conclusion. Oh my god, wait, what? That's like 4 votes already. Not again. That's 4 out of 6 jury members who've proposed a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. Wait, does it have to be a plurality or does it have to be unanimous? Every time I press these witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. Hi! Hey, Anev! How are you doing? We mustn't give up hope that we'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. Hi! Shut up, Anev. But alright, I'll keep trying. That's 4 out of 6 already. That's a plurality. Well, yeah, you know, most number of votes. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped the bus and then I saw it too. Or what exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir, that would be the passenger, sir. Yes, collapse on the floor. No. No, 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 no. He's not on the floor. He's still sitting. And by the passenger, obviously you're referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And then the other passenger had that knife in his hand, like this. No, 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 no. No. You have to edit your testimony, then I have to present the photograph. Then plunge out like this, stabbing the other passenger in the belly. Order! Order! It's hard to believe of one of London's greatest philanthropists, but this is damning indeed. The law knows no philanthropists, my lord, only the innocent and the guilty. Good deeds mean nothing when overshadowed by evil. The truth is everything. Couldn't agree more, sir. The truth. Alright, so when it happened, the only two people in the enclosed cabin area were the victim and the defendant. And so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend. Don't like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here. What am I supposed to think here? Is Mr. McGilded really innocent? Or could it be... Before we jump into conclusions, our first task should be to gather information. We need to understand the case much better than we do at the moment. Yes, you're absolutely right. Let's listen to those witness statements again a little more carefully this time. It was the last bus of an evening, so I remember it well. The victim and the man were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and punched a knife in the right. Okay, wait. I still haven't examined the knife. That part is the sheath, isn't it? I just don't really like blades. Those don't seem like the words of a man with a large katana slung from his waist. This is Kazuma's soul. Anyway, there's no sense in delaying it. Let's see what the blade looks like. That just looks like a lot of blood. It surely is blood, the victims. Englishman's blood looks a lot like Japanese blood. Do you think it wouldn't? Sorry, it's just that we've only just arrived here in Great Britain. Finding it a little hard to adjust. Yes, I do understand. You know, this could be a W. That could be a W. An ornate letter M, undeniably Mr. Magnus McGilded's initial. And it's beautifully gilded too. It must be very valuable, I should think. Look at this M. If you turn it upside down, it becomes a W. This could change everything. Told ya. It's one of those, turnabout cases, I'm sure of it. Wow, self-referential. I don't know at all, but what I'm sure of that is that this is an M. Oh, well, that idea was quickly quashed. That's gonna be a W. Come on, let's be real. That's gonna be a W. Okay, what's this again? But his face is partially obscured by view by an old crooked hat. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus and then I saw it too. How could you see it when you were driving? This is the roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, you must have a wonderful view of London streets from up here. So people sit all the way up here on bitter winter nights with the cold air rushing past them. They have to pay money to do so. Brr. Can't imagine how cold it must feel. That just made me think of something horrible. Can you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as a punishment? Perhaps that is the real price you pay to stay out late. Okay, if Mr. Driver is sitting here, how could he have seen this? Also, if this is... Okay, if that's the crime scene, which means the people up there on the back seats could have seen this. All right. Then I saw it too. So I have a feeling this is the statement that needs pressing. As always, we save scum. You know what? Can I examine this? I can't examine this. I assume this is where driver sits. Then the horses are there. Right? Phoenix Wright Omnibus. What? I just realized that. Wow. I wish I had a save scum emote of some kind. It should be like one of those, I don't know how old you are, Tilted, but remember back in the day when you had those like floppy disk containers that were like sort of partially rounded and like a fan where you like try to flip them or some sort. That could be a good emote. Okay, this is the only thing I can think of presenting. There was like no reactions from each of for each of the statements. Okay, I think I need to press this again. And he's also not on the floor. Okay, I think the only thing I could present at that point is the bus to the last statement. But the weird thing is I couldn't examine the driver's seat. The last bus of the evening, the victim and the man accused were sat next to each other inside. Out of the blue, accused just reached over and plunged a knife. Okay, reached over is also one thing. They were seated side by side. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed. I did. Couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus and then I saw it too. Alright.
Objection!
Okay, music is still going, so that's... And your perspiring brow. Seems to me that is the damning inconsistency here, with the misplaced confidence of your assertion. He has a damning tongue. You invited, sir. Let's just reach over it. Okay, I think for here, I could possibly present the knife.
Hold it!
What? That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed. I couldn't help it.
Hold it!
You stabbed him and you were sitting up on the roof deck. Okay, I'd been thinking about new hat design you see, so I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then, I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly, that huge great knife. This was so sad to take that for that lapse in judgment. No, I'll be more careful. So you have heard the witnesses had an unfettered view of the events unfolding. Would you not concur, Coachman? Your dithering suggests that you would. Oh yes. Wait, I think...
Hold it!
Okay, it seems that I haven't fully examined the bus then. So that I can only examine the door and like the window and like the seats, and that's it. Ladder, nothing. This is the only door. That's not a door. Okay, alright, that's still a poster. Oh, hello. I haven't examined this. This seat has a handle, it seems. Oh. Somebody could be hiding in here. It's like all sort of equipment that may be needed to keep the omnibus running. feeding tubs, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools, so it's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things, it seems. There doesn't seem to be any space for passengers to store their luggage, that's for sure. Well, I don't imagine it would be very convenient for that purpose anyway. Alright. Okay. So it's Reen's lunge forward. Reached over. Reach over must mean forward, right? Not reach to the side.
Objection!
Damn it! Okay, you know what? Let's let all the exclamation marks run out. And out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I couldn't help it. And then you saw it too. How could you have seen it when you're like... But his face is partially obscured by an old crooked hat.
Objection!
Damn it.
Hold it!
I have a feeling there was a reaction I missed. Okay. Gotta take dog for a walk. Hey, no worries, Stilton. Thanks for dropping by. Do appreciate it. I will see you around. Okay. What statement is... Because, okay. Usually in an Ace Attorney game, if like there's no contradiction in any of the statements, and after you've pressed every single one of them, it shifts to the next scene. The trigger for that is you press every single statement. If there's nothing that you can contradict with, it goes to the next, like, goes to the next part. So somehow I'm not triggering something. It's cold freezing. Alright, nobody's reacting. Yes, that's right. Not all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course, though, no. These two were on top, the other two were inside. So nobody fled the scene of the crime then. I have to say the boss insists on running it. He does every evening, the last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. What do you mean by that? I think, wait, this is new dialogue, with that being so cold and everything and only making 20 pence on the run, you see? Yes, I spent that much at the pub on the way home just trying to warm up again. I just can't believe it, sir, can't believe it. A murder on my own bus. This is new dialogue. Alright, I think I do need to like press the first two statements again. Oh no, my lord, I wish to speak. Yes, juror number 5. Do I take it that you too? As the master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself. But I've heard enough now. The horse has bolted, as they say. She up now, Silver Blaze. The finish is in sight. Oh, they have to reach a unanimous decision. Beppo's a long-standing member of the guild and I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. Wait, why are they like... The juror knows the witness. This is too unkind. Which now means that 5 jurors agreed to condemn this man. You know, it would have been a good twist if like the grandma was the first one to say guilty. I would have loved that. Madam Juror 6, yes dear, what can I do for you? You've heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand. Oh yes, I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know. Then pray tell, where are you yet to pronounce your leaning? Well dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. McGilded Park it's called. The gentleman donated it to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' face, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. He's always doing wonderful things for the city. That's right. How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know? What kind of a man Magnus McGilded really is? What kind of a man is he? The philanthropist, Magnus McGilded, has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir. And one with the very darkest of souls. What? Stone the crows! McGilded lends money at extortionate rates of interest so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He's a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard of any mention of that before. Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service? You're not saying that. The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name, save considerable financial liability. It will come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused Magnus McGilded. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts. Good gracious! The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him, his life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender Magnus McGilded. Don't believe it. If I might add something briefly, Mr. Sato, you claim the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded, but where is the evidence to support your claim? Oh, is that blood or wine? Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice in a court of... Yeah, he's a vampire. Aha, there it is. Lord Van Ziek's hallowed chalice. How can this be considered acceptable? But I find myself in unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. As judicial assistant to the defense, I am simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You'll find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. A marvelous toast, counsel. I will gladly accept this new evidence. Debtor's ledger has been entered into the court record. Alright, I only have 2 penalties left, damn it. $20 guineas, the victim owed a considerable sum. Oh dear, do you really think we ought to look inside? Well, it's not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is it? We will not find Mr. Shom's name inside. Well, what if Mr. Shom's name is there? Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? Well, I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen, are they? Not everyone in this country is well off. Ah, goodness! Look at this. Do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay. Should that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment. Oh yes, of course, the banker. Why is his name in here? He borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course. But this could be very useful information. Among the defendant's list of debtors is Bruce Fairplay, who would have been due to repay his loan imminently. That's it? Okay, so Fairplay's name is in the ledger. Okay, well, how much did Fairplay owe? 20 guineas. And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Well, it would seem I've had the wool pulled over my eyes. Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused. And it's such a pretty little part too. What a scoundrel. Still, maybe it's all for the best. Wait a minute, let's think about this a little more before. I don't stand for nonsense. They have to redo this case if that is the last juror's decision. According to this encyclopedia of British law, and all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here. Final verdict, it's over then. Oh. There's a footnote though. However, the defense... All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial by delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no objections. Miss Usato, just tell me one thing. Oh yes, you were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your encyclopedia of British law. However, the defense, what did it say next? Oh yes, of course. One moment. When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. Then the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. Oh. A summation? Examination?
Objection!
A summation examination? From which century has that tome? You have there been resurrected. Judging from the binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedure a mention. It's a relic, long forgotten, and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. Oh. What even is it, Miss Usato? This so-called summation examination. Oh, one moment I'll read about it. You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understood what it entails. Typical Nipponese. Alright, Mr. Naruhodo, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we would be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what exactly? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that, if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decisions. Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision, but that procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit really, because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age. Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? A summation examination, our last possible option. Do we assert our right to carry it out or admit defeat? Assert our right. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very high standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
But if it's alright, it's alright. I believe it could prove vital in this trial. The defense's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summation examination. This is madness. Foreman, are you around and the remainder of the jury ready? I'm not. There was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so... All members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. On what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Well, my lord, you're rather putting us in the spot. Well, you're a juror for crying out loud. this is most irregular. No mention was made of this before. I don't really hold with all this justifying lark. That seems to have thrown the jurors off. Seems none of them have experienced this before. Alright then, the summation examination. The defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for to turn this trial around. So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant Magnus McGilted guilty of this most serious crime. Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions. Oh, now we get to press the jury then. Oh, this is interesting. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. No, wait. Okay, 4 pence. If it totals 20, there must be a 5th person. The scoundrel slamming that poor man on the floor. It beggars relief. She couldn't have the papers not moving. She's writing over everything she's typing. I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I'll have to throw everything I can at them and use some very persuasive language. Evidence! Just a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then, they've reached the conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Oh. Then what on earth am I supposed to do? Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Narodo. Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then? Evidence! Now, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments. What do you mean? Suddenly Christmas music. Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. That's the way to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. Alright, so we must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can, we then contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. Alright, so now Miss Maid and Mr. Union Guy are contradicting each other. So it's contradictions in what 2 or more jurors say that we're looking for. In a way then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination. Yes, I suppose you're right. Find contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Ooh, how villainous I like this. I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not true. I have to pull this off. Can we start proceedings, counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. Jury examinations. The defense's rebuttal. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to be him.
Hold it!
Certainly, the testimonies we've heard suggest the victim and Mr. McGilded were alone inside the carriage. Precisely my point. But could there be some other explanation, something we have considered yet? Such as... Hahaha, well, perhaps that's something we could, all work out together now. Now listen here, maybe you don't know how things work around here because you're from foreign climes. But we're here to form our opinions as individuals, and I have. Oh dear, he doesn't appear to be in the mood to consider an alternative point of view, does he? No, I'm going to have to pit the jurors against one another, like Susato-san said. Finding contradictions in these 6 people's assertions is the only way I'm going to succeed. But I want to press each statement. I trust the driver, he has an excellent memory it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. Alright, press. But does this ability to recall his takings that night really tell us how trustworthy the man is? I manage all his lordship's cash affairs, so I'm very particular when it comes to accounts. I see. Single penny can mean the difference between life and death after all, can it? That's a saying in your country. My point is, a man who minds his figures is a man you can trust. Those of us in service would swear to that, sir. Does that bench really need any more polishing? So if the good driver says that he saw Mr. McGilden in the act, I don't doubt him. The only task left to do today is disposing of the rubbish. Ah, now wait a minute. One of the other jurors mentioned something about money, I think. Now would be a very good time to listen carefully to the jurors' statements again. Alright. I want to press every statement first. He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. Careful, you could hurt somebody with that. You're a fine one to talk. What of that sword hanging from your waist? No, that's just my battered soul. Well, anyway, I despise anyone with too much money. Can I have that money, please? They're all the same. All stabbing some brickmaker or other behind the scenes. You mark my words. That seems very unlikely, doesn't it? Are you mad, man? We all know that small shorty is a rotten Shylock. Oh yes, that does seem to be the case, but... Mr. Naruhodo, please, be careful what you say. If he's been trying to squeeze money out of us less fortunate, then as far as I'm concerned... He's as guilty as sin, the man can hang. Come to think of it, didn't one of the other jurors have something to say about the defendant's underhand activities? Oh wait, defendant. Alright, juror, alright. You may have thought of something. Let it go, test your theory. But the 2 jurors whose statements seem to be contradictory against each other. No time like the present to use spit against, or I'll never get anywhere. I simply typed and collated the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion.
Hold it!
What I've been doing all this time there. I should have thought it was obvious. I'm recording everything that takes place as part of these proceedings. What have you learned from that? For example, at this moment in time, the judge has used his gavel 11 times in total. The prosecution has snorted derisively at your remarks 7 times in total. And I might add, each time you have gawped like a simpleton. Thank you, and what's the point exactly? So anyway, madam, are you able to explain why you think the defendant is guilty? That is the conclusion I have drawn as a result of the copious notes I have typed. Clearly, but I'm asking you to explain why you've drawn that conclusion. Please don't distract me, it makes me extremely hard to concentrate on my note-keeping. This is going nowhere. You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence in years.
Hold it!
Guess how much it costs to take the omnibus? That's right, as the guildmaster, I decided to set a policy for all drivers across the city. One fare no matter which bus you take or how far you are going. We have to compete with the rise of the motor car, you see. Us coachmen have to make a stand together. Motor cars, you say? Yes, and this murder on one of our buses is extremely damaging to our cause. It's beyond the pale. It'll lead to a decline in passengers, you mark my words, and it's all that rascal's fault. He has to pay. Is it the crime or his buses he's more worried about? Anyway, every member of my guild is reliable and trustworthy. So if the driver says he saw him do it, that fellow in the dock is as guilty as sin. The scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor at Beggar's Relief. Alright, so Grandma and Mr. Stabby Stabby and the maid and Mr. Guildmaster are contradicting each other.
Hold it!
I really think you should stop waving that needle around. You heard what the good coachman said before, didn't you? That hideous man stabbed the poor fellow just like this. Yes, that's what he said, you're right. Gilded Park is such a lovely little place too. I've always enjoyed resting my legs there while I get on with my knitting. And I had thought that anyone who donated such a delightful place must be a fine fellow indeed. I suppose I was wrong. Excuse me. Whoever thought he was a miserable murdering moneylender with not a scrap of remorse. Oh, help. She's as sure can be that he's guilty now. The old lady certainly seems to know her mind, doesn't she? So we just need to find two jurors with contradictory statements and pit them against each other. Which is so much easier said than done. Well, I took the liberty of doing some research in case you happen to find yourself in just such a situation. Shall I read you what I found out? It's a little long, I'm afraid. Yeah, please go ahead. Very well, listen to this. During the summation examination, you will hear the assertions of the 6 members of the jury. In this situation, the counsel for the defense should use X and pit with impunity. Having done so, you will be able to compare the chosen assertion with those of other jurors. Select the corresponding buttons to listen to the other jurors' assertions again. Note that you cannot choose the assertion of the jury initially selected. Nor can you choose assertions of jurors who have changed their leaning to not guilty already. Once you've compared the various jurors' assertions, work out which two contradict each other and then pit them with... Okay, so we can't do that now. Alright. The first step is to listen very carefully to what each individual juror has to say. Then I'm sure you'll start to see which ones might not quite agree with with each other. There is no one else. I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory. It seems 4 passengers with fares totally 20 pence. Alright. Now I can pit this with... you can trust the guild.
Objection!
There. Those two statements clearly contradict each other. They do explain yourself, counsel. Me? Oh dear, what have I said? I swell on Silver Blaze's main and name. I haven't the first idea what you're talking about. Oh, he's walking around. Holy crap. This is nice. According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus in the night in question. And according to the coachman, he took 20 pence in fares. Quite right, I have those precise details typed neatly here in front of me. You could be the stenographer, to be honest. And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. That is a fair and convenient single price, just the way London's carriages should be operated. But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts. Why? 4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you do the multiplication, it would be 16 pence. Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence in fact. Or precisely 1 person's fare. Yes, in other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible there was another passenger we've heard nothing about. Good gracious. This can't be right. The coachmen of the guild are good, honest men and one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword. The figures your coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy. I beg your pardon. Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious characters ride his omnibus. Alright then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end? Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire into the innocent side of the set of scales. Now hold your horses there, coachman. We were all in agreement. Why do you have to go and wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo? This is all very irritating. Begging your pardon, sir, I'm going to do the same. For the love of Mike, not you as well. A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters. Oh, really? I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo, you did it. If you can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds... So if you got doubt in play, yup. Yeah, because clearly earlier, when we were pressing the witnesses, nothing was happening. They weren't adding to their statements. I couldn't, present any evidence to change their statements. They weren't reacting to each other's statements, so at that point, I had nothing. And then suddenly this comes up. We can force the trial to continue 2 more. Actually, there is something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions. That's when you must strike then. So I need to pit 2 more jurors against each other and show there's another contradiction in their assertions. Exactly. You can do it. Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh heavy on the side of guilt. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination. I'm changing my leaning to innocent. I should like to hear what this slipshod bookkeeper has to say for himself. There's no one inside. Okay, I know it's Mr. Stabby Stabby and Grandma. I have simply stifled collated. Grr, Beppo, this trial has to continue so I can get to the bottom of this corruption. Not guilty, I say. On the floor. Alright, I have to pit Granny against this guy.
Objection!
Those statements are completely contradictory. What? Explain, counsel. Post haste. Oh dearie me, I must only nibble and jumper from my other half. What is all this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? We've heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3. What, can't you see I'm busy here? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it? Want to test me, do you? It was like this. Stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up, just like the prim banker said. Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Quite true. Now then, juror number 6. Stat me, is it? What can I do you for, young man? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam? Oh well, dear, as far as I understand it, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so. Now don't move. Take a look at these two jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. Well, I never there. They're stabbing in totally different directions. What? Bless my stitches, what a muddle. What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth. Oh, but why? Why the dickens would they lie? Well, Mr. Knife Guy was the first one who, shot the fire, right? I don't know that yet, but what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience? Lies, you say? Oh dearie me. I can't abide people telling lies. The scales. I don't believe it. Hold it! Wait. Now here it is, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him in his black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on all of us. If I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all of this? Answer me this, Dark Jinx. Me? What exactly is the problem? What of it if two witnesses have slightly different recollections of events? What of it? Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was sat next to him on the omnibus, and this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor and then the Shylock stabbed him again. And this old lady saw him do it. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that? Who are you calling a dandy, sir? I should take this knife to you. Who are you calling old? Why I should take this needle to you? They're ready to kill each other now. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the two witnesses see two different moments of the scene of the crime? It's possible. It's true. There's an outside chance of almost anything you care to mention. Exactly the point I've been trying to make. Before you go any further, Mr. Naruhodo, what is it? I think you should have a look through the court record. Yo, it's Archie. What's up? Welcome on in. Ace Attorney. Yup. You see, this evidence makes it quite clear. There isn't even an outside chance of what the juror is saying. Okay, I think it's just the bus. Simply because the driver is here. Yeah. And also, there's no blood stain on the floor. How did I miss that? Fortunately, Mr. Foreman, was it in charge? Just come out with it. What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. So where's your evidence, man? Alright. That's the time we need to save scum. I say the two witnesses saw two different exact moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of the question, show me proof. Looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. It's the carriage. I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime, as proven by...
Take
Oh god, it's not it. It's the photograph.
Take that!
It's not that. Okay, I'm curious what happens if like this trial ends. Thank you, Council. That will do. According to the powers vested in me by Her Majesty the Queen, I declare no further examination. I shall be requesting the final decision of the members of the jury. Certainly. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will announce your findings to the court in turn, please.
Guilty!
Guilty.
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 Wow, voice acting.
Guilty.
Game over. Oh, a retry from the scene. Wow. Alright. Oh god, I have to like start from this. Okay, so I have to like restart. So I have to like put guild guy and maid. Yeah, alright. Okay, this is good. This is good. Alright. I thought it would like restart from the chapter, so I have to contradict that and this guy, and then Mr. Stabby Stabby with Granny, and then present something different for the evidence. Okay, blah 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 blah. We all know this. Yeah, that's super nice. In the original Ace Attorney, if you like restart, it restarts from this chapter start. So that's why I saves cummed a lot in Ace Attorney. I don't know if it's the same for the trilogy versions, but in the individual game versions, you had to save scum a lot. Oh, I should have like done Granny and Knife Guy first, just to see what the difference would have been. Alright, here we go, 2 more.
Objection!
Okay, I've changed it that I chose Knife Guy first instead of Granny. I just realized, what's the post-mortem report? It's only one stab, right? Stabbed once, alright. Okay, so it's the autopsy report. Really hard to get cure for later. What are you talking about, Nev? Is the pharmacy closed? Better go out now. Unless you go to a 24-hour one. Don't believe it. That's a cool effect. I wanted to see what this looked like in like the 3DS. Well, usually when I play with the 3DS, I turn off 3D because it makes my head hurt. Once makes me wonder if that fire can happen in real life. Have you heard of the Great London Fire of some 1800 year? That's probably the effect. All right. Now, it's out of the question. Unfortunately, what you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. What are you talking about? It's the post-mortem report. It's the autopsy report. I say the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. You say that's out of the question, show me some proof. Looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. As you wish. I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. It's proven by the autopsy report.
Take that!
This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen only once. Only once? It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen two different times. Alright, I can see defeat. Wait, that means four jurors are now leaning to not guilty. We've done it, Mr. Naruhodo. We've won! Yes! What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me. But we had a consensus. I said shut your trap. I know a liar when I see one, and if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop, I'll take this razor sharp... Oh my god, wow. Wow. And shave every last hair off his head. Please tell me he's a barber. Well, in quite a remarkable turn of events, the defense's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. The jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to adjudicate, and the trial must continue. And he's still licking the knife. Wow. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places. And I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth. So, Lord Van Zeeks continues to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. Yep, he's a vampire. Come on. That's blood. That's a chalice. Just notice there's background noise, but no one overwatching the stuff. The zoom out view. And it's Castlevania music. Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hallowed chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zeeks. Simon Wilmont, where art thou? Is it cold in here or is it just me? As your antiquated tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination. So I honored a deathly silence and listened to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Well, no matter. There's nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. No. And why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? Oh, zoom in. So let us proceed to the next round of battle. A dance off. Bring forth the witnesses once more. Witnesses. I trust you heard the summation examination we have just had to endure. Oh yes, sir. That I did, sir. Of course I heard it. Oh yes, sir. I heard it. You, sir, on the end, the coachman. I believe it's Beppo. Yes, sir, my lord, sir. If it transpires that in your previous testimony, you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on your omnibus. How's the case going, yo tilted? Yeah, there was a new mechanic. Welcome back. There was a new mechanic, juror examination. So all jurors like chose guilty initially, and then like the defense had to like counter the juror's position, asking their reasoning, and you had to pit them against each other in order to overturn their decision to continue the case. So that's what's happening right now. You'll be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind. Oh mio Dio. Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination. Okay, everyone's shaking except fair play. I only carried 4 passengers that night, I swear it, but well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. Oh. He fiddled us on the fare, he did, and then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much. I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Oh yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes. Okay, he was charged 5. Counsel, makes sense of this for me, please. The phantom 5th passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little cousinage. I haven't heard of that word. Beppo, explain yourself. I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster. The Guild's fare is 4 pence across the board. You know that. Am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare? It's so cold and the last run of the day is always half empty. You have been dishonest, coachman. I'm sorry. You're a disgrace, Beppo, a disgrace, and your selfish actions have brought dishonor to the entire guild. If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week. What? 4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently. No, that figures. Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please. We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Absolutely. I only carried 4 passengers that night, but well, I for one.
Hold it!
So there were only 4 passengers on your carriage, but you didn't charge them the standard 4 pence fare, is that right? It's impossible to make the last run of the day pay. I was so cold, it was all I could do to stop myself passing out. Okay, nobody's reacting. I'm getting chilblains just listening to you. It was terrible, so I wanted to give myself a pat on the back for even keeping the bus running. Doesn't a dedicated coachman deserve an extra penny per passenger? You're digging a deeper hole for yourself here. If only there had been a 5th passenger on the omnibus that night, then we would have had another suspect. So many fun words, I think they're actually correct, most of them. Yeah, I think most of the language or words here were the words during that time. So, yeah. Well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus.
Hold it!
Does that mean everyone on board that night paid 5 pence instead of 4? Well, I've paid 5 pence too, sir. Alright, so I assume it was 5 for everyone. And I just told you that I did. A flat fare of 5 pence across the board. It's not something to be proud of. The so-called discrepancy my learned friend identified was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed is gone, dead and buried. I'd have been happy if it had ever existed in the first place. He fiddled us on the fare, he did, and then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much.
Hold it!
This blood-curdling sight, you mean the murder, I presume? Yes, sir. A loathsome sight. No one should have witnessed the horror in the eyes of the man the moment his life is taken. Oh well, not exactly, sir. I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed. What? Good gracious, really? We have another witness who did, however, the banker has already testified to it. But Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant. I heard the banker gent next to me take a sharp intake of breath. See, that's when I looked through the glass. That's when I saw that horrible blade poking out from his belly, all covered in blood. Okay, the thing is, does the reaction have to have like those thought bubbles or something, or is it just like this banker looking at this witness? Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming, even when I'm eating. I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands.
Hold it!
So you saw the defendant stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him. That's what I said, isn't it? It was bothering me before this was. For just a brief moment, he hesitated before answering the question. Anyway, there was only the two of them inside the carriage, wasn't there? There's been much talk of a fifth passenger, but as yet zero evidence. Then what are we wasting all this time for? It's black and white. The man's guilty. Something about Mr. Fairplay's testimony just jars with me. I wish I could work out what it was. Oh yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so.
Hold it!
I think so. Excuse me. Earlier you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice pick grip. I suppose I might have, put the cart before the horse maybe. What's this? Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard the scream from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was from me, sir. Alright. Here, Fairplay is just looking straight to the left. However, on this person's testimony earlier, he was like glaring at him. So, I don't know if I need to notice that. That's when I turned around and yes, I saw it. Okay, he was glaring. Alright, so I don't know if that's the reaction I need to observe. Gentleman was on the floor and the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. Okay, he wasn't on the floor. There's no blood stains on the floor. Crime scene photograph shows he was seated. And the fellow holding the handle was the famous man. Yes. So in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all. I really thought that I did, but no, you didn't see it because you were driving the carriage. But when I go over it again in my head, no, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment. Aha, you're
Excuse me!
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay? Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that, eh? Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. Might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer him cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? Well, it is... shoot. Unless you spend your time peeping through the skylight on top of an omnibus, I see. Peeping? I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as a Ballarat day. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord. I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what you exactly saw. Oh, I can do that, alright. I'll tell you just how grim it was. Do you think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed that man?
Hold it!
Blood-soaked? Ahem, well, perhaps soaked is laying it on a little thick butt. There was definitely blood all over them, both... No, there's only one hand... there was only one glove covered in blood. Well, the skylight's reasonably large, so I had a pretty good view. And there was a lamp on the inside of the carriage as well, so I'm quite sure of what I saw. This banker's latest statement. I feel sure there's something not quite right about it. Also, he said hands, not gloves. True. True. When you feel something doesn't add up, Mr. Naruhodo, that's when you should have a good look through the court record. Not long ago, this trial very nearly came to an end. Somehow, we've managed to keep our chances alive here. Can't waste this cross-examination. I have to use it to bring some new facts to light. Not careful when you press these witnesses. The danger is that the jury will end up believing something unhelpful as they did before. Maybe what? Oh god, so you can't just press and press. Wow, that's completely different from the mainline games we're in. It's actually helpful if you press every single statement. Yes, you're so right. I need to pay careful attention here. I don't want to miss even a flicker of a reaction among these witnesses. Remember, if you happen to spot one of the witnesses reacting in a strange way, don't hesitate to pursue them as to the reason. Okay, 5 pence. Fair. Stabbing. Do you think I forget those blood-soaked hands? Alright. So, now we can present the gloves.
Objection!
Blood-soaked hands. Well, I admit that soaked might be laying it on a little thick butt. But anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar. What? Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilded, on the night in question. Oh yes, right. And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there. But as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove. Arrgh. In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. That can't be right. So you're the liar here then. Grr! That's right, you were quite clear about it. You said, "Here, it was both hands." Grr. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, I can. It's perjury. It wasn't both hands, it was only one, but the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. Which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. Grr! Why? I'm a city banker for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutters, and upstanding members of society don't prevaricate. I don't even know that word, my god. He's claiming to have no reason to lie. But is that really the case? Mr. Naruhodo, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, it could turn the tide in this trial completely. Oh yes, now the ledger. We now show the ledger. My lord. Yes, counsel. The defense is ready to present evidence. By Jove, are you sure? Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony. Gah! Very well, I hereby call in the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness's alleged deception of the court.
Take that!
This is a list of the debtors who owe money to McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused's extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused? No, well, it's barely worthy of being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? Well, what of it? Let's suppose McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist. Cease to exist? Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw in a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant? Gah! Gah! Order! Order! Mr. Fairplay. Yes, my lord. Let me ask you again, and be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim? Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. Alright, now let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch. A pinch? But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGilded's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And yet only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained. So you keep saying, I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir. Go ahead, Mr. First. Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself as it happens. Seeing what? The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think yes. I'm almost sure that it was on both of his hands, not just one. What? What? Okay, so I think the extra compartment now makes sense. It's possible. Okay, it's possible that Willy Wonka, McGilded was drugged in a way. Put in the compartment, someone took his clothes, posed as McGilded, stabbed the guy, possibly went out or switched places. Then, yeah. It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. This time, I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear? Yarsh! Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last. Yes. I might finally have a chance to turn things around here. What the witnesses really saw. Okay, music's faster now. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing the knife and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself, no, not until I heard the scream. Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage or we all would have seen. Well, lo and behold, in truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside that carriage and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it. That's really not what this testimony is about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. Okay, here we go. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witnesses' accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case. Very well, your cross-examination, please, counsel. Yes, my lord. What the witnesses really saw. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. No, the evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves the defendant was wearing on the night in question. I'm well aware of that, sir, but nevertheless, I know what I saw and I stand by it. The man had blood on both his hands. He's defiant even in the face of hard evidence. He's steadfastly refusing to admit that he might be mistaken about what he saw. But why? Your reasoning is dire. One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the grim crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused fingers. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters.
Hold it!
Don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance as well, you know. For crying out loud, we all know that no one else could possibly have done it. I was just trying to save us all some time. You have a loan of 20 Guinness outstanding with the defendant, do you not? Had you hoped to release yourself from that financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty? That's not what I was hoping for. I just lost a little guinea or 10 when I backed the wrong horse in the derby, that is all. I was going to win it all back. There's a fixture this weekend, that's a sure thing. Oh, you have a gambling problem. Just like me. A little guinea or 10. I'm a banker, no one bats an eye if I borrow a little spending money for the weekend. I think you may have revealed rather more about your character than you bargained for, sir. So that's where all the sub money is going. Nope. This witness's scruples are not on trial here. Proceed to the next witness. Is that really how it's supposed to work? I remember seeing the knife and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them.
Hold it!
You definitely saw that too, blood on both hands? Yes, I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of McGilded's gloves has any signs of blood on it. That's right. The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw McGilded sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves. Oh. BRB, no worries, Coburn. Alright, GLGL. Yup, good luck with whatever you're gonna do. Like what Anim said. He wasn't wearing these gloves. That's correct. And I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. It's true that the dark-colored stain on the dark leather gloves wouldn't have been easy to see. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused in the night in question reported that there was no trace of blood on McGilded's gloved hands. There wasn't blood on his hands. Alright, so there's another person in the carriage that's probably hiding in the compartment that's probably the murderer. This is puzzling indeed. This must be significant somehow, I'm sure of it. Can we have that added to evidence? I didn't actually see anything myself, not until I heard that scream. You didn't see anything? Oh yes, sir, that's to say, sir, no, I didn't. Very sorry about what I said before, sir, very sorry, yes. It's very wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw him stab the man. Wouldn't you agree, sir? I know what you're insinuating, but I certainly wasn't making up stories. Still, to say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it? No, sir. I saw nothing at all. Mr. Beppo, you were driving your horses. At the very least, you must have enjoyed a good view of London streets, no? Oh, please. You don't even see that. It was so cold that night, you see. It was all I could do to keep myself from passing out. Yes, my head was fairly frozen solid, sorry to say, sir. It would seem prudent to avoid travel on the last omnibus service of London's cold winter nights. Beppo! Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or else we would have seen. Okay, I wasn't able to like press that. Two of them are recounting what they saw through the skylight in the omnibus roof. I know it's a large window and certainly affords a good view of the inside, but... well, I think perhaps you ought to confirm what they're saying with our own eyes as much as possible. What do you mean? I mean that we can examine the evidence firsthand. The omnibus here is in the courtroom after all. That's a good idea, and we can consider the witnesses' statements while we're looking around. Okay, 1, 2, 3... Okay, I could possibly present the omnibus here. And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight. That's right, I was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. Oh yes, I remember I was shivering, I was so bitter. Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. Oh. Why not? It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. It was locked? That's right, and if it's public bus service, for pity's sake, that is not what I call fair play. Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly to the warm cabin below. Well, I can assure you I wasn't just looking down, I was glaring long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, it would have noticed. Unequivocal, I would say. Alright, let's examine this bus again. Will it update if I, like, examine the compartment? Okay. Okay. So I probably could Could they have really seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? They may not have been able to. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the roof of the upper deck, is that right? That's right, yes. In that case, there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you. By golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied that at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nepalese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here in the flesh. Yep, it's the compartment. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You will identify the area of this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated?
Take that!
Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other. which means the visible part of the cabin which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight is as I've drawn here. That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. Gah!
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nipponese have a foreboding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude. Can you, Mr. Naruhodo? I can't. Wait. Wait, I know. The mysterious passenger is McGilded. I honestly don't know who could it have been. Who could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? Saves some time. Okay, here's where we're at. It is almost 10 o'clock, so I do have to end shortly. So, we'll see how far this chapter goes. If this chapter ends at a good part, then we'll stop. Otherwise, I'll probably have to stop in 30 minutes max. So, yep. I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name. You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet. Wait, didn't you break your chalice earlier? How many chalices do you have? Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was...
Take that!
The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Mr. McGilded? What are you talking about, counsel? The name of the defendant?
Objection!
Wow. If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do forgive the courtesy. Lord Van Zeeks. People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own, but I see they use their terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact it is the very premise on which this case is built. But that premise may be wrong. If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it still creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What inconsistency? The gloves. The defendant's gloves. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains. The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yes, their testimony remains unchanged. Exactly, they both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. There was a fifth person in the carriage. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, the third part we have yet to identify. Yo, Cobra, what's up? Welcome back. What did I miss? Nothing much, just cross-examining the testimonies and trying to push that there's a third person in the cabin. And the victim's blood was on the passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit. Extraordinary. So who is this third party? Order! What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. And what particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First? I'm afraid I don't remember. And you call yourself a hatter? The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be sure? Because if there had been, the accused Mr. McGilded would undoubtedly have offered to dispose the fact. Unless that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. Ah! He's right. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. He was asleep, right? He mentioned that he slept during the thing. There's clearly a simple solution to this problem. Bring the accused McGilded to the stand. Well, what say you, counsel? The prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out that the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion? My lord, should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not? We still don't know things. Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand. In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Yes, I need a little time to consider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say. Get the man out here. It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild. Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say, oh yes, that would be lovely. Yes, the jury says the man must be heard. Wow, foreman. Very well, the court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. Will it just be the defendant this time? Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day? To be sure, I have, my lord. Okay, wait. Okay, alright, fine. The other photo that was shown earlier where these two were side by side, I didn't notice if he had like this scarf around him. There are now two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal the fact from the police? Begad, no, it is not my nature to hide anything at all. Just answer the questions, please. The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell yous all or keep my mouth shut? Tell us what McGill did. The fine fella representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger. Oh my god, it's true, and 'twas me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened. Little urchin, okay. You what? No, Magnus McGilded, that's convenient excuse can't save you now. I'm truly sorry, I am Lord Van Zeeks. I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you. I assume he's Scottish or Irish, right? Which was? Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and not in any way involved, you see. Little child. If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd had assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her to this here courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord. It's not a young kid. And who was this young child of whom you speak? That I don't know. You don't know? Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witnesses' statements to be disregarded by the court. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings. What? Ah, smoke. Ah, fire! There's a fire! Yep, it's the fire from the scales. What is going on? Be careful, Mr. Narodo. Cover your face. Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom. Chapter end. Okay. We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. Yep, it's the scales. It's definitely the scales. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being, at least the trial was suspended. Okay, to be continued. Alright, this is a good place to stop and... Alright, this is a good place to stop, so we'll continue this next time. Alright, so everyone, thank you very much for joining and I really do appreciate it. So yeah, as like what I said earlier on Saturday, I'm not sure if I'm gonna stream or not, but if I am, I will do Mario Maker. We continue this next week on Monday. So yeah, more of this on Monday. This case is getting interesting. I'm really liking the turn around of events, and yeah, the jury system was a big change from the mainline Ace Attorney games. So anyway, alright, as always, yeah, don't forget to check the socials. So yeah, Twitter and YouTube. Yep, I am uploading to YouTube daily. Either it's a short or an edited video. So the next edited video will drop on Sunday my time. So edited videos usually drop on Wednesdays and Sundays, then shorts for the rest of the days. All right, let's find someone to raid. Who is on tonight? Okay, who is on Ace Attorney first? Bracky. You know what? Why not? Let's do Bracky. What is Bracky doing? Bracky is doing Grand Poo World. No. Shells. I thought he was doing Grand Poo World. Alright, yep, let's do Bracky. Link, Dom, I'm sorry, Aniv. Yeah, let's raid Bracky. Anyway, everyone, again, thank you very much. So yeah, we continue this on Monday. So alright, I guess that's it. Again, everyone, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your night, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.